Hi, I'm Clever Ghoul, but you can call me Nikki. Welcome back to the channel. A few weeks ago I made some spiderweb stained glass and I was really inspired by that project and just had spiders on the brain. So naturally this week we're making some beaded spiders. These can be used to make pins or make jewelry, but for our case today I'm going to make them so that they hang from different corners of my house. This project isn't difficult, but it is slightly time consuming. Putting on all the beads can take a while. I don't think it would take you more than a few hours, but it does feel a little bit longer because it can be tedious organizing and arranging all the beads. So it's just something to keep in mind before starting this project. So with that being said, let's get into it. For materials, you're going to need some thin wire. Now I use this one that I had on hand. I think it's about 18 gauge wire. You want something around 18 to 20 because you want this to be able to fit thin, small beads on it for the legs. You'll also need eye pins, assorted beads, a wire cutter, and glue like E6000 or this B7000 that I'm using today. When I say assorted beads, I mean you're gonna need everything from tiny seed beads to larger, chunkier beads so that you can make the body of the spider. So it's something to keep in mind when you start this project. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna sort your beads. First, you're gonna find a large bead to make the base of the body of the spider, and then one that's more of a medium size for the head. Obviously, you can do whatever color story you want with this, but in order for it to look like a really cohesive piece, I think it's important to at least stay within a color family. So using different reds, different blues, kind of wanna stick together so that it looks like it's meant to be one bug. But really, do what you want. For this first spider that I'm doing today, I went with blue. First, I pulled out an eye pin and pulled out the larger bead and placed it on it. I want the base of the body to be near where the eye pin is because I'm going to later tie monofilament cord there to make it look like it's hanging. So the main body of the spider needs to be towards that end for this to make sense. I'm just gonna show you here really quickly. I put the medium bead on top of the bigger bead so you can kind of see here the head and the base of the spider and how it's going to look. But really what I want you to do is remove that middle bead and just have the big bottom bead on there first, and then we're gonna get into the legs. To make the legs, you're gonna need to cut out some of that thin wire. What I did was I measured out the wire against a ruler and cut out 4 6-inch pieces that would act as the legs. We're gonna take these and fold them in half so that way you'll have 8 legs total, and that's why you only need 4 pieces. Once you've cut out those pieces, you're gonna take them and line them up so that they're evenly end to end aligned. Then take them and fold them so that the ends meet and you find right where the center is. Don't completely tie it off right away, just kind of make a little indent of where that middle point is, and now we're going to attach them to the eye pin. With that large bead still on the eye pin and the medium one removed, we are going to take the wire legs we just made, find that middle point, and put the eye pin right in that middle point. Then we're going to take the legs, twist them around a few times, and then pull them tight, flatten them out so that there's 4 legs on each side. From there, you're going to take the medium bead, put it onto the eye pin, and push down so you kind of flatten and compress those wires that you just put down. You still want the 4 on each side, you're just making the little knot in the middle flatter. Now what you do is you take some of that glue, the E6000, you put a drop on those wires that you just put down. I put one on either side. I remove the medium bead again, put glue where the medium bead's about to go, put the bead back on, and then add some more glue at the top so that it fills in any gaps where that hole is so that everything stays secure. Now you're gonna set that to the side for 5 to 10 minutes while it dries. While that was drying, I put it to the side and started to pull out all of the beads that I wanted to use for the legs. I pulled out some extra beads here, some that maybe I would use, I wasn't sure. Anything that was blue and could potentially be used for legs, I wanted to pull those out. A good tip here is to take a paint palette and sort your beads in each little paint section so that way everything's easy to grab when you're beading later. Next, I started to lay out a sequence of how I wanted the beads to look on those front legs. You kind of want to roughly lay it out and then start to put them on and play with it. You might have to go back and forth to figure out your pattern, but you want to make that pattern mirrored on each side. So each of the legs has the same exact pattern going down them. When I was putting the last few beads on those front legs, I would put some of that E6000 down and then put the last few beads on and kind of press them and hold them there for a minute so that everything stayed glued down and secure. I also would add a small dab at the top of that last bead so that it really adhered to the wire and so that we didn't have to do any looping or tying off later. I repeated the same process with all of the legs. I made each pattern a little bit different. However, the corresponding legs on both sides matched always. So the 2 back legs matched each other, the 4 legs on the middle, which are the 2 on each side, also matched each other, and the 2 front obviously mirrored each other as well. I also made sure to keep the last 2 2 beads on all of the legs the same so that it had a cohesive look. Once all the beads were down, I went back and added another little dab of glue on the end of each leg just to make sure everything was secure, and then I laid the spider off to the side to dry for a couple of days. I repeated this process a couple more times with different beads so that I could have a few different spiders, and then after a couple of days when everything was dried, I took wire cutters and cut any of the ends off of the legs and the end of the eye pin off of the spider. Lastly, all I did was cut out some monofilament cord and tie it onto the end of that eye pin, and now I've got some hanging spiders, which means it's time for the reveal. So here they are. I'm really thrilled with how they turned out. They're really pretty, but they're also creepy. They would look excellent as a pin or maybe even a necklace if you could make that work. It would get tangled in my hair and it would drive me crazy. I think you could even put them in your potted plants at home. I think they'd look really cool there. I really love the blue. I just think it's so bold and fun and colorful. I also made a red one, as you can see. I just love how that turned out, and I loved using more of a rectangular bead for the head, mixing it up and doing something a little different. You don't have to use perfectly round or elliptical beads. You can do fun beads like rectangles, and I think the payoff is still really great. Lastly, I made this pearly, pinky, crystally girl. She's hard to see on camera, especially on my hand here, since we're essentially the same shade of translucent, but she's just so pretty and I just love her so much. Now, if you were gonna do this at home, how would you make your spider? I think in the future, I'd really love to make a pearl beaded spider. I think that would look really cool, but I would love to hear what you would do at home, so let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!